their last slot. So they were never sure whether they were going to get home at the end of this extraordinary raid. So here she comes from the right in the hands of Captain Kev Rumens, co-captain Bill Perrins, AEO Phil Davies. Your very own Vulcan. See, everybody thinks she's very noisy, but she can tiptoe up on you.
Isn't that noisy?
Isn't it? What? What do you think, mate?
No.
Wait for the next one. Oh, I'm impressed they're quietly.
The man who flew the amazing raid on the Falkland Islands, Martin Withers, is now the chief pilot of the Vulcan to the Sky Trust. He's not flying today. He was awarded a DFC for that. And that aircraft that he took down to the Falkland Islands is now on static display at Waddington, where she was based. So the first Vulcan flew in 1952, so last year she was celebrating her Diamond Jubilee along with Her Majesty. In fact, every air show last year was in celebration of Her Majesty's Diamond Jubilee and by kind permission of Buckingham Palace. This aircraft was made in 1960, so she had her 53rd birthday last Saturday. She is manoeuvrable as a fighter. At the Farnborough Air Show, and I can remember seeing this, one of her test pilots rolled this aeroplane. It didn't go down very well, and he was told not to do it again in public, but it was quite capable of being rolled. And she has a fighter-like control stick. Doesn't have a big yoke like most bombers would have. So she really is a bomber pretending to be a fighter. Now you see that bomb bay opening there, the bomb bay doors open, and that is where she carried those 10 tons, 21,000 pounds of bombs.
Still not loud.
Now it's too far away to see, but if you were to look closely inside that bomb bay, which you can do when she's on the ground, you will see that it is completely covered with the names of people who have sponsored their names being in that bomb bay. There is still a little space left if you wanted to have your name remembered inside that huge bomb bay. You should go to the Vulcan website, vulcantothesky.org, vulcantothesky.org, or please do go and see the people at the Vulcan Village, which is near the control tower. You can't miss it. It's a huge tented area, and they'd love to see you at the Vulcan Village, and they'll tell you how to go about doing all sorts of things to help Vulcan and keep her flying. We've just heard that through something called Operation 2015, with a bit of luck, if we can raise the money, she'll be flying until the end of the 2015 season. Where there was at a time when we thought she might not fly beyond the end of this season because she does require major modification next winter. As she comes by this time, you'd see those bomb doors closing. If you look at them with binoculars, you may just be able to see inside. What she really needs is a full commercial sponsor, and everybody's been trying for years to get that. She doesn't have one, but she does get an awful lot of help from the commercial world. Also, people like Eddie Forrester of Aerobytes, very generous. Big support from the Civil Aviation Authority. Somehow you don't expect a big manta ray like that to do those kind of maneuvers. Marshall Aerospace, the engineering authority, lots of other companies give great support. AD Holdings, BAE Systems, Beagle Technology, Cranfield Aerospace, more about that in a moment. EADS, Goodrich, Kearsley Airways, Meggitt, Messier Doughty, Rolls-Royce and Serco. Still costing £2 million a year to run. That's 38,500 every week. Fundraising done by the Vulcan to the Sky Club, quite a lot of it. More than 8,000 members and rising, one of the biggest aviation heritage support clubs in the world. She lives at what used to be RAF Finningley, where she used to be stationed at one time. That's now snappily known as the Robin Hood Airport, Doncaster, Sheffield, or RAHADS for short. She was actually stationed there between 60 and 68, but she lives now in a very sumptuous hangar there, and the Trust runs regular visitor facilities. You can go and see her and look around her. But you have to remember that she's not funded by the government and she does not belong to the Royal Air Force. And in fact, just as Kev put the power on there, you heard the beginning of the Vulcan howl, the extraordinary noise that is unique to this aircraft. Nobody quite knows why it happens, but it does. And it depends on the weather as well. But you can tell your grandchildren you've heard the Vulcan howl. There's one member, or sort of member of the crew that I haven't mentioned, and that's Kevin Stone, Taff Stone. He's the crew chief, the chief engineer, the man who thinks of her as my baby. 558 is my baby. He was 25 years in the Air Force, and he left to work on the Vulcan project. So it's thanks to TAF that we see this aircraft performing so brilliantly in front of us today. I do urge you to go and pay the Vulcan Village a call, or if you don't want to walk over there, and it's beside the control tower, beside our commentary position, you could contribute to the funds by text. You'd be very welcome. You text to the number 70070 70070, and you text VULC 13, VULC 13, plus one more figure for how much you want to give. So it could be 2, 3, 4 or 5. So to contribute £3, you text VULC 133 to the number 770. Here she is for the last pass with her gear down, and wait for the sound as those Bristol Olympus engines spool up. And there she goes. Wasn't that absolutely super? So